Years ago, a task force recommended changes to New Orleans' permitting process, but very little's been done. A task force member says persistent problems hurt the city's economy. Rob Masson reports on new efforts to address this old problem.
October 12, 2019, the Hard Rock Hotel collapses while under construction, perhaps the most glaring example of dysfunction in the city's permitting process.
It really makes me sick of my stomach.
A 2020 Fox8 Lee Zurich investigation uncovered alleged fraud and corruption in the city permitting process leading up to the collapse, prompting the formation of a task force to try and straighten things out.
Did this result in any changes?
At this point, I would think minimally.
Frank Morse is a past president of the Greater New Orleans Home Builders Association. He was one of a 5-member task force which issued a 17-page report in August 2023. It listed 10 suggestions for improving the permitting process, including increasing the city's inspection budget by at least $3 million and a call for more transparency into a permitting process that can be daunting for veteran builders.
And you can lose work like this because if you wait too long to get a permit, it takes 2, 3, 4, 5 months. People change their mind. I mean, they say, oh, it's not worth it.
Morse says it takes 2 to 3 times longer to get a permit in Orleans Parish as compared to Jefferson.
How much longer does it take to get a permit in New Orleans as opposed to Jefferson or
months?
To make things worse, builders say the Orleans Parish one-stop permit application process is cumbersome and inefficient.
The one in Orleans Parish is a little more difficult, and it has its lack of coordination between the various departments.
To try and get a permit approved, builders say more often than not they have to go to City Hall and sometimes wait hours. Morse says there's a lack of coordination between city agencies and an overall lack of manpower.
Is this hurting the construction industry and its ability to operate in Orleans?
It absolutely does.
City Council member Freddie King says his office is working on an ordinance to try and tighten up the city's permit process. It may include a lifting of residency requirements, which some say is a hindrance to hiring the needed inspectors. A new report from the City Services Coalition says that the city is likely losing revenue due to ongoing permitting problems as they call for a concierge to help people negotiate the process.
There's nobody in charge, nobody can go to, or that people are making decisions based upon their knowledge and not necessarily giving the public, when you take out a permit, having a checklist.
People in parishes like Orleans rely on third-party inspectors more often than not, but those inspections must still be reviewed by a city permitting office that has roughly half the inspectors as are employed in Jefferson.
Do you anticipate hiring more people to help out?
Absolutely, and hopefully I would say in the next 60 days.
Orleans Parish, there's such a lack of staff that it's hard to even get a hold of the upper echelon at times.
And reforms are slow, but they could be moving forward on 2 fronts. Councilmember King proposes a 60-day rapid certificate of occupancy process for non-structural improvements and a requirement for departments to respond to a permit request within 15 days. Meantime, the City Services Coalition this afternoon called for making permitting and other issues key in the upcoming mayor's race. They say a recent survey shows a majority of New Orleans residents are contemplating moving from the city, and they say it's time for change.